Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Saturday chess show on IBM TV or Pod TV. My name is Sasha Starr. I would like to introduce my esteemed colleagues and the commentators and participants and my friends. Let's start with Grandmaster Alex Yermolinsky. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sasha. Glad to be here.
Excellent. And now, Grandmaster Stuart Atalik. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Hi, Stuart.
Sasha, how are you doing?
Now we have Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, great to have you, and hopefully we'll have a few other participants soon. Ken, you're preparing to your trip to Italy, right?
That's right. Yes, on Tuesday through Sunday, we're meeting at the
Okay,
FIDE Fair Play Commission.
I see. So fair play is still there because
Well, it's more difficult thing is fair play is everywhere, and we
yeah,
don't know whether how to the extent to which everywhere will be in person or online in prospect this coming year. Uh,
yeah. We need fair play. Enough cheating and all the problems. We need fair play in chess because chess is the fairest game of all, and the better to clean it up. What, Alex, do you think about it?
Yeah, well, that's right. And the past three
Me?
weeks have been rather foreboding. I mean, there's been several incidents, including the headlining one of Nigel Short's opponent in Italy, which
Hmm.
might not be an actual fair play violation, but it has all the ingredients that we talk about.
Oh, when the when the phone rang, right?
Right, yes. So mobile phone bag
If
and the
anyone cheated there was Nigel. Deprived, this poor kid of a well-deserved victory.
yes, by not resigning, well, whatever. There were some people who said that Nigel Short could possibly defend the position. But there's one thing Nigel Short said that's very interesting. I don't know if I want to hijack the conversation, but I'm traveling to Italy. So what am I going to need? I'm going to need a green pass, and I'm going to convert that from my New York State Excelsior pass and my test result, which I have to take place within 72 hours. But I'm going to be staying at a hotel. So everywhere I go, the restaurant, the hotel, I'm going to need to show this,
Oh,
with my
really?
my pass. And so Nigel points that out. We're becoming more and more needing to have our phones on our person every one time, and yet this is the contradiction of it. And there is an element, and we did allow the players to have the phone stowed in a bag underneath the table. So it's unfortunate that I guess we didn't foresee the amount of likelihood that that a phone that's switched off. Now this is not switched off. This is on. But if I press power and the phone is switched off, I would think it was dead. But apparently you can set alarms that will rise it from the
Switching my
dead.
phone off.
That's
Oh
the
my God!
explanation for why the kid lost.
Oh my
Don't
God!
bother me. I'm
Really
switching my phone
complicated.
off.
Yeah.
I'm switching my phone off.
So
Not
today,
saying another
without
word.
your smartphone, you're nobody. You're no person really, because
Well,
your
or
phone.
you're like Novak Djokovic, presumed unvaccinated, whatever. So,
Hmm.
uh, yeah.
Suat, what do you think about Djokovic situation? Is he going to play
Mm,
in your Australian Open?
I think it's not the first time I was asked with this. Maybe you were the same guy to ask it. I don't know. Look, what I can say about Serbs and COVID measures and all these vaccinations. There is something with Greek Orthodox branch of Catholic religion. Sorry, of Christian religion, that many people are not vaccinated in Serbia
Mm.
or were not vaccinated. I don't know this
Right.
particular case, and they do not want to be.
Hmm.
I don't know. I didn't follow uh, in general this Djokovic case, but obviously he became a very big person,
Anti-vaxxer. Yeah.
and I mean, he's real symbol of Serbia now, and he couldn't play this Australian Open. People really were upset, but also there is this type of too prompted mechanism in Australia that one ministry allows him, the other one doesn't allow to participate. Well, I don't know. Just I believe that everybody should complete his vaccination card. Has to have more than three in our time,
Mhm.
and has to show like what Ken has showed us with his phone or whatever, or in a printed form. It's the disease has not only the pandemic. It has not only medical measures but also administrative measures. It looks like the
Agree.
world is divided into two.
So far, chess is lucky to avoid all these problems with vaccination problems and so on. So far, everything is more or less runs smoothly.
In
Ken,
fact,
are you aware
in
of?
fact, let me take back something from last week's show. I forget how
Okay,
much I said it. So I may have mentioned that in last week's show. I was looking for an explanation of my apparent drop off in quality, especially measuring the blitz from Warsaw. And so what I did subsequently was redo my results from previous years
Hmm,
with my
okay.
current format. And having done that, that closed part of the gap. And then I realized something else. So the something else is, what's really I think should be a more major story. I mean, I wrote it on the very prominent computer science blog I partner, which just celebrated its 1,000 post. I'd like to show
Wow.
that briefly. But I have adjusted FIDE ratings in order to account for the fact that they've been frozen during the pandemic, especially for young improving players. But what I realized is I've actually solved two problems at once. I've solved the pandemic problem, but I've also solved the general problem of ratings lagging for young players. And I believe that for the previous years that I was comparing to, I was using the ratings as given without a correction for that, and that is enough to explain why I got why using the standards of 2 years ago, but now with my full correction, it appears as if the quality is 50 elo lower. So when you put those two factors together, that closes almost all of the gap in ELO quality that I had perceived. And so now I'm saying that A, the results in Warsaw are fully consistent within error bars of the results from previous years. And hence B, I don't believe that there was a large effect of COVID on the players. So
Hmm.
Hikaru Nakamura, just a one-off case, and maybe there were a few other one-off cases, but not a big deal, and not either that the atmosphere was more difficult to play in. So I take back the impression, having had another week to sift things through scientifically.
Ken, does it apply also to classical chess?
Well, that's the thing. That of course is it might, although again I have so not only A, I have not noticed any effect on classical chess, but B, for the Shigorin Memorial, I think I showed my spreadsheets last week from the Shigorin
Yes.
Memorial in St. Petersburg, the biggest tournament played in person in the fall, um, and with especially with a lot of young players. I get an absolute bullseye with my rating adjustments. My rating adjustments average so 3/5 of the field were players 21 and younger, born 2000 and later, and my average adjustment for them is 250 elo, increasing the given ratings. And that makes my average adjustment over the whole field 150 elo, and my projections hit their targets as measured by the intrinsic quality and consistent with tournaments before the pandemic within 10 elo. So you see, I'm hitting targets within 10 elo after making adjustments of 150 and 250.
I
That
see.
is very high accuracy. That
Okay.
means that
Okay, Ken, are you expecting any, so to speak, surprises in Vikandze, Tata
one thing I
Steel?
noticed is there weren't 7 draws today. and there were reasonable number. Was it 2 decisive games in each section? I think, whereas last time there was talk about all these draws. Let me take a look. So I think that's one thing already to notice. 3 decisive games in
3.
the top section and 4 decisive games in the challenger. So exactly half the games were decisive. So I certainly don't think the players are cowed. They've come to fight. And I think I'll be giving my report in a few minutes, so I'll be able to tell how consistent the quality is. Of course, it's just 14 games. It's not going to say a lot yet. But
I see.
So,
Alex, what's your impression about the first round today?
I didn't really follow it closely. I had some other things to do. I didn't even know there were 3 decisive games. When I left, there was only one. Do the beat report.
Yes.
But well, two more games of the lower rated players. They seemed like were headed for a win. But did Mamidyarov beat Dubov? I don't know who won.
No, it was a draw.
I think it was a draw.
Oh, that was a draw. So that means that we did. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm really not up to date. Don't worry.
Okay. Sivat, what about your impression of first round?
Well, I checked the games to some extent, and I could say like Yesipenko Carlsen was a colorless draw, and Corona played very strange with white against Karyakin.
He had a really strong continuation. He captured with the wrong pawn at move 30.
Oh, but okay, I don't know what he was doing. I mean, this part of the game was a surprising part that I might have missed. He played a really strange cowspot structure by exchanging a pair of bishops, which usually is condemned a little bit by the modern theory. And Dubov played a very risky line and continued in a risky way, and I don't know. Mamedov many times in this technical wins, he doesn't choose the best continuation. I liked how Duda has beaten Rapport.
Yeah, very interesting.
In a very good way, like in a very nice long-term pawn sacrifice. And with it, Shankland and the other one, Van Forest, Grandelius, they were also easy games. Giri with Pranaganda, I don't really remember. I mean, I have to check. Yeah, okay. So this is the C4 E5 game. Yeah, I think it was very coolish, very coolish.
Yeah, and it was some strange choice of opening by Giri, because it's kind of a sneaky plan for White to play this English opening system. But anyway, it never really deviated far from the draw.
No, well, he did play it before against Grichuk at the candidates. He just tried a new plan of bringing the knight back to E1 to move the.
Yeah, so it made it, instead of one move, it made it in
That was new. Yeah, that was new.
It's theory, is it?
Knight E1 was new, at least new to me. I mean, I haven't checked the databases. I have no interest in this.
No, but if you don't play this,
that I did not know. That's all.
But if you don't play this line, you don't need it really. What's the point? Unless you will like it, and then you will have to learn this and start playing it. I see. Okay, so it was 3 resulting game, 4 draws. Okay, that's it's not bad. It's to tell the truth, if Nepo and Ferrugia, if they would play in this tournament, that would be really the strongest tournament for today's standards. Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, it's a shame that they had the break with Ferrugia. You wish that could be patched up. I can understand.
What's happened there with Ferrugia? He demanded some special conditions. What's the story there?
An apology, or I thought it was just an apology or something. I'm not sure.
No, it went above the apology. He asked for money. Apology was given, but
okay.
It was he wanted more. He wanted to convert the apology into monetary unit.
No, doesn't sound right to me at all.
Yeah,
nothing sounds right.
But the apology was a Dutch apology, which doesn't count for apology for other people. The way it was phrased, it was just an additional insult. It's expected from these guys.
What was the?
Well, just read it through, like, I don't know. This is not how. I mean, I understand things are lost in translation, but well, I don't think it's satisfactory at all. There is more like rationalization of why they did that rather than apology. Apology would take like what? One sentence or two sentences. Instead, there is. Anyway, I don't take sides on this, but it's just how.
Well, all they had to say is that we really regret for what's happened, and we will make sure that it will never happen again. Our apologies. Please accept our apologies. Something like that would do
And
probably.
then,
That probably would be enough, I guess.
does anyone know how much money Firouzja asked for?
No.
They say what nobody reveals this because it really depends on the amount of money. If he just asks something that would constitute maybe the difference, well, whatever, between maybe he would have won more money last year or something. That would be one thing. It would probably be a small difference, or maybe not so small. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's difficult to judge.
Else he asked for $10 million, which he also could.
What? $10 million?
$10
Why
million.
couldn't
my
he?
goodness,
I mean, he would say, "Yeah, well, pay me $10 million and we're good." Why couldn't he say that?
Well, I think Gaprindashvili had much more grounds to ask for. She was asking $5 million.
Well, chess players, they haven't, tried it yet. Wait till the lawyers get into this thing. Then we'll be talking.
Well, Gaprindashvili had lawyers, by the way, but
No,
it didn't play well for her.
how did it work out, by the way, for Gaprindashvili?
Oh, it was rejected.
Rejected by whom?
By producers of the Netflix. I believe.
So exactly the people she tried to sue rejected her claim.
Well, it depends on whether it's an international court that can take it. So,
No, well, it all depends, on the amount of legal support you have behind you.
I think she has reasonable legal support. I think I think your problem would be to prove the damages. So how she could? She's not competing these days for sure because she's over 80 years old. So how Netflix, by doing whatever they've done, could inflict the damages worth $5 million? That probably would be difficult to
Well,
prove.
she was referred to as Russian, and that's everlasting damage. It's psychological. It's pain and suffering.
Yeah, so there could be some.
I mean, yeah. How would you like to be called Russian? You wouldn't like it, would you?
So it's punitive damages of some kind.
Certainly, yeah. That's what it is.
So I'm surprised that supposedly she had good lawyers. So why they wouldn't proceed much farther? I really don't know much about that. I just thought that the lawsuit was dropped and that's it. I don't know. Ken, what you heard about that?
well, so what I was doing was I was going to get either my current Chess Life or current American Chess Magazine. One of them has an article on the 1977 Lone Pine, which Gaprindashvili won. And of course, the interest in the article is the controversy over her suit. And I'm of course interested in seeing that because I played and did very well in that tournament.
Yes.
It was my second IM norm, tied for seventh in a stellar field. And what my point is, though, so if I find the article, I'll show it here. My point is that there is a self-compensating aspect to her action, in that it is making publicity for this, correcting the record, and a lot of the personal details that have come out mirror my impression from the tournament, where the important thing is nobody marveled and say, "Oh, this woman is contending." I mean, she won her first 3 games. She was in the in the conversation for first place right away. Then she lost 2 out of 3, I think, or maybe lost 3. I think she lost 2 out of 3. Yeah, she lost. I'm sorry, lost 2 and drew 1, and then she won her last 3 games, and she was on the top boards in the last round. So she was just seen as one of the top contenders, and I don't remember any marveling over her gender during the tournament.
Well, she was doing quite well in the men's tournaments. I remember Hastings was one of them where she was playing really
Dortmund.
well.
She played some Dortmund also. I don't know how well she was doing, but certainly she was competing among men, just like Vera Menchik did.
Yeah,
She did. Burdanitsa did.
yes. Well, nobody could be comparable to Judith Polgar. I think she was one brilliant woman chess player, of course. But Gaprindashvili did quite well. So they dropped the lawsuit, or it's still there? What's the latest?
It's probably still there. I'm just saying that she is, at least there's been the compensation. I mean, I do think the show was wrong, very wrong, not to
Yes,
check that.
100%.
I mean, they could have asked me, or anyone who played in Lone Pine or whatever. But at least I think she's getting trost for das material or something like that. She's getting compensation in this publicity, which hopefully is helping her chess school. I mean, I still think it would be good if Netflix would donate some sizable sum to the chess school in Georgia.
Totally agree with you. Yeah.
So
that's terrible. I would really support Palestinian terrorists compared to donating money to Georgian chess school.
Well,
especially Madame Gaprindashvili.
Sorry, I didn't catch the cast of what you said.
I said I would really donate money, to terrorists rather than Georgian chess school. I was watching a lot of videos and many shows. All these young people, Georgian, whatever, Indian, playing each other, always flipping some pieces in their hands. I don't know. First of all, why should the money be donated to the chess school of Gaprindashvili? She will cash the money out. I don't know how much of defamation for her was there. Obviously they represented her figure completely incorrect, but the damage, it's not that. But a Georgian chess school of, I don't know, dumping games with with all these things should never be supported by any court, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, oh dear. Well, I was just thinking
I think it's a very good material for your Italian trip.
I'm just thinking in terms of charitable donations that large companies tend to make, this one would have a good return on value.
As long as Grandmaster Azmai Parashvili gets to become the trustee of that fund, I think that can go to good hands, So, yeah.
Together with Macedonian
organization. Don't worry about it. That's going to be well spent.
Okay, that's one idea for sure. Okay, yes. And finally, we discussed briefly last time what's happened in a game of World Championship between Carlsen and Nepo, when Carlsen touched piece, but supposedly was supposed to move it, but it never happened because Nepo was not at the board. I don't know what arbiters did there.
Nothing.
Did they see it or? But
nothing. No, they in my opinion, they should interfere, obviously. But okay, who were the arbiters? I mean, some Scottish guy is the second one, and the Arab in his traditional clothing, and nobody knows who these people are. And they just don't have authority.
So, do you think that Scottish guy and the other one, they have impaired vision? They didn't see.
I think they had horse glasses, probably.
Alex, what's your opinion on that?
I wrote a sort of a match report for Chess Life. I expressed my opinion that Carlsen did not intend to move this knight. The way he adjusted it was probably a little awkward because his whole hand, descended on that piece rather than touch it, like with just two fingers, where it's just impossible to grab it physically. So it was kind of awkward thing. But looking at the position, the knight had no place to go. There is no way Carlsen or anybody else would even consider moving that knight in this position.
Mhm.
Okay, so you don't agree with the contention that he intended to retreat it to?
No, I didn't agree in the article. I said, like it was. I stated it the way I just said exactly.
Yeah.
There was no move with that knight in consideration. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's what I wrote. It doesn't mean anything.
No,
No,
listen.
it's debatable because he wanted to play knight d7, in my opinion.
97.
He didn't like d5, and
Mhm.
his next move was h6, with a position with abundance of different moves. He was concerned about the back rank and or d5 push in case of knight d7, knight f8 could be an idea, but okay, whatever. He didn't say anything. Still, when your opponent is not at the board, I assume you have to tell it. Otherwise, you start touching everything.
So tell me about the Napa. He was he not invited to Vikanze, Tata Steel, or he declined participation? What's happened with him? Because obviously when they make invitation, it was obvious that Napa will play his match with Carlsen, and not that he has chances to beat Carlsen, but it was still a possibility, even theoretical. And even if he wouldn't beat Carlsen, it still would be nice to see him in the tournament. What's happened? Why he's not playing?
I have no info. I don't know.
I
One thing I know that the vacancy fellows they talk to people 6 months in advance.
But he was
Like,
already
decision
contender.
had to be made, back then. Maybe they didn't want to invite him because they thought, what if something goes
Mm.
wrong during the World Championship match? Then the controversy would carry on to their tournament. Maybe they just didn't want, regardless of the result.
Yeah. Because without him and Firuja, it's a little bit devaluating the status of the
No, but you
tournament.
can't get everyone. I mean, all these Vikanzes, they were trying to gather people, but you can't get everyone. I wouldn't say like their presence would change anything. Okay, one had this interesting affair from last year with the organizers, and it's a little bit exaggerated. And do you really want to see Nepomniachtchi after the match in your tournaments? Or I mean, I don't want to claim that he will be another Andrei Sokolov,
Mhm.
but there is some similarity. Maybe he would, maybe he would have rejected the offer beforehand, and maybe he would still, he doesn't want to play chess these days. I don't know. It's very difficult issue for him to play now after this bad result for his standards. Bad play, not maybe the result, but the bad play. So, I mean, it's nothing is missed by Nepo for this turn.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe he needs some time really
Definitely.
to get his fighting spirit and to get back into chess. Of course, it would be very interesting to see in candidates what he's going to show in candidates, because obviously he's one of the favorites to win candidates. Or you think that there will be others? But in fairness to say, we don't know even who are the players in candidates. There are
Yeah,
still
two more people.
two mystery players. Ken, what do you think? Who has chances to be in candidates? I think we know 6 players, but we don't know the other two.
Yeah, we don't know the other two yet. Who has chances to be in the? I mean, that depends on the upcoming Grand Chess Tour starting February, I think.
Hmm.
So as
No,
far as
it's
I know,
Grand Prix. Grand Prix.
Grand Prix. I'm sorry, upcoming
Oh,
Grand
Grand
Prix.
Prix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see one more U.S. player, Wesley So, or Wesley So, I guess. But
We don't even know if Wesley's going to bother traveling over there.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, because you were talking about this no requirements to travel and all that. And no, we don't know exactly if Wesley is going to be able to fulfill those.
Okay,
He
that's
belongs to a no certain group of people that may have their own view of those things. We don't know.
mhm.
Yeah, it's very awkward time to travel. That's true. It
Yeah.
can
I'm
please.
traveling on Tuesday, which might be crazy, but I think given that I'm not going to be going lots of places, the airports are probably the most dangerous junctures.
Yeah, yeah, simply because there are so many people, so you have to be very, very careful. It's
Mhm.
um, of course probably you are vaccinated and double vaccinated, yeah,
Triple. Yeah.
See?
booster.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, supposedly it doesn't help you much all these vaccinations, but
Not
at
at
least
all.
at least supposedly it will be a lighter form, and you can probably quicker to recover, hopefully. But that's about it. The best way is just to stay home and drink some vodka. I don't know what else to do. Alex, how are you
Under,
coping?
under advisement, yes.
Yeah, under advisement. How you are protecting yourself against?
Me?
Yeah,
I mean, we don't really have COVID here in South Dakota. Well,
really? Oh,
not really.
that's nice.
Nobody I know here is sick. People in other places I talk to, yeah, they get sick.
Hmm.
I don't know. The winter probably is too harsh for COVID. It's too cold outside.
So maybe that helps. Stuart, how are you are protecting yourself against coronavirus?
I think the cases increase in Turkey. It looks like this variant Omicron is very effective.
Hmm. So hopefully it's the last variant, and hopefully it will go away in a couple of months, once and for all. A lot of people really believe so. So let's hope for that.
But it's a
So
variant, it's not a mutation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
If
keeps
the
evolving.
virus mutates, then you got another type of pandemic,
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
I can venture something. The high positivity rate makes simple COVID tests more accurate without any change in the manufacture of the test.
Hmm.
So and Alex, I know you've had the experience of having an evident false positive test.
Yes, I did.
So so if the test is 99% accurate, but your prior rate of having COVID is only 2%, that's the local rate, then out of 200 people tested, you will have two false positives and four true positives. So you're still sort of like 50-50. The test isn't giving anything more than that. But if 20% of people of test results are true positives, it's the upward mark with this Omicron surge, then you'll have two false positives and 40 true positives out of the 200 players. And now that makes your odds 40-2. Okay, so 19-1 likely that the test is correct. So
Yeah,
so
the
that's
math is nice, Ken, but there is one more thing. Does the emergence of a new variant, Omicron, wiped out the previous ones?
no.
Nobody,
In fact,
no,
the
yeah, nobody
vaccine
talks about
successive
it.
vaccine seems to be carried through.
Oh,
You're
yeah. Well, I'm not sure. For example, if a person tests positive now, maybe it's not Omicron, but maybe it's some of the things that we had before, the Delta or whatnot.
well, it could be,
Nobody
but
knows anything. Fact is, like I just talked to a friend of mine, returned from Mexico with his wife. They no, well, they were sick over there last 2 days of their stay, and yet when they took a required PCR test, required to return to the United States, well, it came back negative. They were very happy, all the sick, aboard the plane and flew home, and they felt even worse and worse. So, well, This husband went out, took a test, it came back positive. He bought this new test kit for home use because his wife couldn't leave the house, brought it home, she's positive. So now we're talking about uh, false negative. So that's a new thing. And it's
Yeah,
going to be, and that stuff makes sense because from a point of view of a country like Mexico, who allows anybody in without any requirements and not even a question about COVID, now why do they have to treat the people who get sick over there?
yeah,
They should push them out and let their own countries worry about that.
that's completely right. I should say when you have 40 true positives in the population and a 1% false negative rate, then there is a good chance that there will be a false negative.
Yeah, there will be false negative, and we don't know how those things. Now, to me, the important thing is no, it sounds real bad, but it has to be scientific. I know the word is used and misused and abused these days, but it has to be based on science alone, not on a political situation or whatever. Well, if one country, I'm not accusing Mexicans in doing this, if one country decided, okay, we don't want to deal with those guys who now test positive 4 out of 10, and they have to stay here, and we don't know where they're going to be kept, and we cannot worry possibly about the quarantine rules. So let's just push them all out. Let's just say that they're all negative. I mean, it's. I would understand their position. Well, it's not really, honest, but it's understandable. So basically, this COVID does not exist outside of a political reality of this world. Nothing exists outside of politics.
Yeah, but
you're right.
I don't believe in the symmetry of the rightness of the people who politicize it. So you're right that it's a political reality, but I think the fact that it's a political reality is heavily biased.
Yeah, it's very difficult now to separate politics from science. Now, as science is concerned, in my opinion, there is simply not enough data to make really scientific recommendations.
Oh no, it's not that. There's lots of data. It's just that people have trouble understanding uncertainty, natural uncertainty, such as I was just showing. So what happens is, of course, if you get a false positive, you're 1 in 100 on the population, but you're probably 99% of the posts on Facebook, because the people to whom unusual things happen, they're the ones who tend to post on Facebook, and the normal people of us don't. So the sample that people see on Facebook extremely highly unrepresentative of what's really happening. You have scientific studies that tell you what's really happening, but people don't read them. They don't attract clicks. So that's the asymmetry of public interest. I mean, people. Anytime someone who had a vaccine and dies, let alone that things happen in time intervals that can be proximate to the vaccine, you see it blasted all over Facebook. Those of us who don't want to post 4,000 cases of people unvaccinated dying because we have lives to lead and we're not nasty, don't post those things on Facebook. A few do, but instead of being the proper ratio of 4,000 to 1 that people should be seeing, it looks 1 to 1, and people thinks it's a controversy. So I mean, that's the relevant scientific numbers.
And would you agree that the Facebook is much more dangerous than Omicron itself?
Well, the misunderstanding of Facebook is, yes.
So it's not Omicron; it's Facebook that could make you sick. Really.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that.
Well, that's why they shut down the internet in Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
They did the right thing. Otherwise, the country would still be burning. They did the most important thing.
Well, in situation with Kazakhstan, I think it's a reasonable thing, because the internet just could make things much worse Really, I'm not sure if that's the case in Kazakhstan, but it could, for sure. Now, interesting thing happened. We have a French-speaking province of Quebec in Canada, and there's a couple of days ago there will be a new tax levied against people, unvaccinated people. What's happening is that in Quebec is very high rate of vaccinated people. Believe it or not, 87.5%. So it's only 12.5% unvaccinated people. But when you will take all the hospital beds for people with COVID, they discovered that 33% of the beds are taken by unvaccinated people. So they started to figure out, hey, wait a sec. So if all people, not 87%, but all people would be vaccinated, there would be much less need for hospital beds. Because a lot of people who needs actual surgeries, not COVID related, by say heart surgery or some others, they can't get to the hospital because of the COVID vaccinated people. So there will be from February on, there will be a charge of, they proposed, I think, $500 per person a month for those who are unvaccinated. So family of four, it's $2,000. It's quite a bit of money. It's very controversial in my opinion. The other provinces in Canada are trying to figure out whether they should go for it or not. But there will be there will be really a lot of people will go to court because $2,000, like family for four, it's a lot of money. And it could be actually in some countries. In Austria, I think the penalty is $5,000. So $500 is not such a big deal after all. And in Singapore, if you know, people, unvaccinated people who got sick with COVID and need medical help, they have to pay on their own. It's not covered by Singapore's health plan. So there are a lot of variations, really. Before you travel to any country, you have to learn really what you're dealing with.
No
As
travel. That's it.
Djokovic found about it the hard way.
Djokovic found it out the hard way. Well, this is it.
That's
My
okay.
trip to Turkey and Serbia went without a glitch, but no, I've seen enough. I'm not traveling anymore.
No, no, it's not time to travel, really.
No,
I
that's
can.
not. Never be time to travel anymore. I'm done with this. I traveled for 30 plus years, so that's enough.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
30
Stuart,
years of non-traveling, 30 years of traveling. The next 30 years, I don't need to travel.
Stuart, what about you? Are you traveling in the near future?
Mm, I don't know. I had some problems with my father, like we talked with
Mm,
Marie, that I have to wait for some time to. His helper just left back to Uzbekistan, so the guy
mm,
is traveling now. That's,
mm.
and everything depends now. People for our ages to play chess, you need to have some, established situation. It's not like I'm gonna travel to Waikanze to play Waikanze. Like, so I,
Yeah.
I will wait for some time. Otherwise, the tournaments are always there.
Well, what can I say? We are living in a funny time. I think
Yeah.
survival, uh, individual survival, your family survival, this is the most important thing. Whether you travel or not, survival. That's what you owe to yourself and to your
Yeah.
family, and this is number one
And
priority.
that's what everyone wants. Yeah.
This everyone. So anyway we can, we have to survive, and while we are surviving, to watch and enjoy the game of chess as much
Yeah.
as it's possible. Right?
And I just want to come back and underscore the thing that I started to say, because it also relates very
Yes.
importantly to chess cheating. The reason why this is very difficult to understand is what I just said. The quick tests that you take in an airport, okay, have become 10 times as accurate, not because of any change in their manufacture, but because of the higher rate of positivity with Omicron. Okay, and that's very difficult for humans to understand because you think, well, if it's more accurate, it must be a better mousetrap. But no, it's just because of the context and the situation. And that's the same thing with the difference between in-person and online chess cheating. Okay, people want to have one simple rule that applies to all situations, but the reality of online does not allow that. So it just means that this is a very naturally challenging and difficult area of science. And it's very common for frustration with that reality to translate into disdain for science or feeling of being let down or betrayed by science. And there's no way we can patch it. I mean, it just is true that when there's more disease, the tests for that disease magically become more accurate by the important mathematics needed to judge them.
Hmm. Well, Ken, thank you for the words of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, have a successful and safe trip to Italy.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we'll have a program next week. So, Ken, if you are not, for some reason, decide not to go, you are welcome, of course, to join us. If yes, if you will go, have successful trip, and
Thank
we'll
you. Yeah.
welcome you the following Saturdays then, right?
Yeah. No, our preliminary meeting yesterday showed that there's a lot of work to do. So,
Mhm.
okay. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much for participation in our program. Thank you, Ken. Thank you,
Okay.
Alex.
Great.
Thank you, Stuart. Have a safe week, and we'll hopefully see you next Saturday. Bye
Okay.
bye, everybody.
Yep.
It
Bye.
was Chess Stars show on IBM TV. Bye bye.